Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our France run, and, just kind of wanted to talk about what the goal for this run is. I mainly wanted to test and showcase here with the really OP Industrialists, which are giving 20% state construction efficiency. I think this modifier is pretty obscene, and I wanted to test out. And the overall goal, I don't think I set it too much, but it's to 20x the GDP from game start. And you start out with around 27 million, and we're at about the 10x mark, so we probably have one or two episodes left, and then also, play relatively tight, but also play into the journal entries that we have here for, France in particular, with the exception of we're not going to go communist. There's no way we go communist, because then we're going to lose access to the Industrialist. And last episode, we kind of rounded up acquiring the territory for, that we need, which we will be incorporating over the course of this episode for the, the natural borders of France. We also, expanded Wallonia, specifically giving us access to a couple companies that are really good, namely this John Cockerell one, which is giving us, a ton of industries and then railway building throughput. Of the industries, I think that the one that you end up building the most buildings of, and so as a consequence, what you will value the most in terms of construction and also throughput is the tooling workshop. And this one has tooling workshop, and then on top of it, it has railway building throughput. We're getting a total of 40% railway building throughput. 20% off of the company itself here, another 10% here, and then 10% here, which this is a unique French one. This is a unique Belgian one that you can get as France, and then this is a unique one that is down here. And so, it's been kind of interesting to try and theory craft this. We will be putting in a unique wood and iron company, hopefully this episode. Maybe we can get it through, but just wanted to show off, the railways here, which are getting 40% throughput. Like, if we unpause, it should shift back to 40% throughput, because it needs whatever it is it needs to adjust at very game start. So this is kind of our current state of affairs. We are running a couple shortages in some spots, and so I guess we'll be resolving that. Also, last episode, we managed to go multiculturalism. We have China in our market, and this is solving one of the great problems in Victoria 3, which is getting labor. And you can see about here is when we have gotten this crank up, and so, we have a relatively flat, and now it's relatively, like a 45-degree angle, or pretty close. We're siphoning off a whole lot of pops from Qing, which is really going to, exponentially grow as they, get more labor. But we will be building a lot of engines here to try and resolve that shortage, and then we will be continuing, kind of chilling for at least a little bit, but we're going to start annexing stuff and playing around. Had to let the infamy calm down from taking those territories off of Prussia last episode. So regarding the tech, I think we're going to take a little bit of a different approach following the research of shift work. We're going to go for Zeppelins after that, but then I think we're going to really try and push ahead of time on tech specifically. And so to that end, we're going to add another level 51 uni here in Beijing. I think this is probably the best place we can add it. That way we'll just be getting a lot of qualifications. We already have a level 51 here. Just to note, the reason you build universities to 51 is they really, because wages are such a large percentage of, their costs, they really benefit a whole lot from throughput, because throughput increases input goods and increases overall outputs, but it doesn't increase wages. And so it's extremely valuable, on anything that has really high wages as a percentage of, what's going on with it. And so this is going to be where we are, leaning into on what's going on. Man, these guys have revved so many times here. So that's what we're going to be doing, and then what we will be doing is primarily researching ahead of time and letting Nat spread cover other stuff that's behind time. So, for example, for society tech, we're going to be going for Zeppelins and, corporate management ahead of time, because we haven't finished the tier 3 tech. And then after we get shift work, because shift work we are on the way to doing it, we have 2 level 51 unis, so we do want to research shift work. But after this, we might just go straight into, plastics, for example, or we'll have to research some things to get through, but we might make a rush for compression ignition, which is a very strong tech, something like this, where we will incur a lot of penalties, but that'll be fine because, other people's researching will pull up the rear and let us, kind of get some stuff done. We've also really been blasting up the institutions quite a lot here, much earlier than we used to, because I think trying to encourage the standard of living, and I've mentioned it a few times, but it is more important, I think, now in 1.5, because, you know, with the population changes, you know, population's more valuable. You can't rely just on, you know, other stuff quite as much. We get a hee uprising. We are having a little bit of bugs with getting guys to the front, so we are going to see if we can get the guys over here and then mobilize them and then put them on the front. It's not 9 million days, so that will be popping off. And the USA wants to return taxes. Obviously, we say no, but we're going to figure out what we want from them. We are starting to get, like, a little bit of over-migration almost into Brittany and Normandy here, which, you know, we would rather the migration be directed to other areas because in terms of resources, they're not as resource-rich. And maybe it's okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to experiment a little bit with the idea of we are going to be 51ing some agricultural stuff just to kick down this bonus, or this attraction bonus from, you know, it's because they have trade centers. This is why they have the extra attraction. But it's going to kick down some of the bonus they have on for unused arable land and hopefully redirect the pops somewhere else a little bit. And at the same time, we will lock in some efficiency in the form of, you know, having stuff 51 rather than, you know, letting it, like, haphazardly grow to certain levels. And so this will maybe help out. You know, I mean, there are iron mines here, but Brittany just has a ton of pops and not a lot going on, so we're just gonna 51 the vineyards here and hopefully feel pretty good about it. We managed to sway North Africa here in return for returning or absolving, revoking claims on Alabama. We decided to revoke claim on Texas, liberate Cherokee, nothing too crazy. And then we got ourselves also involved in this, swayed Sweden by offering to take Norway off their hands, and then as soon as we took Norway off their hands, they stopped being a puppet, and so now I'm not sure if they're just free. Yeah, so they had a, a personal union, and then since they became our subject, the personal union went away. And so we just kind of bricked ourselves there, but we'll help them out anyways. Not very big deal. We had already sent over the troops anyways, so might as well help them out. We do keep having native uprisings, which is going to be part of the course, because we did get the malaria prevention. It's going to be quite common for us to be dealing with this for, you know, until we fill out all of the Congo, or at least most of it, or just all of South Africa. But you know, in terms of having a bit of a come up, we started the episode just a little bit ago, and our GDP is absolutely exploding right now. It's up nearly 100 million, so we might even hit, you know, this 540 figure this episode. We are struggling to keep the queue going. We're mainly just looking in places where we have a lot of labor and starting to really push the consumer goods in places like that. So, for example, Brittany, we're pushing the consumer goods. We might even prioritize, you know, non-craftsman sewing in a lot of these places because, well, they seem to be a little bit more profitable. There's like a glut of luxury goods, and then in the places where, you know, we have a little bit of consumer goods, a smattering of consumer goods, this is a little bit more than a smattering, but in the places where we have either silk or rubber, or we have a smaller portion of consumer goods in like an industrial center like Rhone, what we are doing is we are doing the full shebang. So for example, Rhone has like a low level one. We could just plop one down here, just like a level 1 textile mill, which will be pretty profitable, and put it on elastics, because, you know, there's a lot of demand for this stuff and no local supply, and so we're leveraging the local supply here and trying to do that. Starting to get gummed down a little bit. This helping Austria out's taking a little while, and we have been landed, actually. So we've been defending North Africa because we got swayed on that side, but now we've been landed. We have a few armies here. We had tried to move an army back, but they have gotten bugged out, or they just got auto-assigned to back to a front, so that's unfortunate. We tried to move an army back. Maybe this is, yeah, this guy's going to the France HQ, but he's bugged out. He's 0 days left, and 9,999 days, and he can travel to these 3 HQs. So he is a bit bricked. So we're just going to send him to, you know, that HQ. Maybe he can get onto one of these other fronts and then move in. Maybe he can get to this front. Yeah, it looks like he can get to that front. So we'll send him to that front, and hopefully he'll be able to help out, and hopefully we'll be able to push out the UK. You know, yeah, this is a little bit of bugginess. We do have to protect Morocco, and so far we're doing an okay job of it. I guess we will move this guy over here, and then our other guy, this guy's also lost. Where are you? You're stuck in Austria as well. Rookie mistake helping Austria out here, and then getting involved against the UK. The UK, we're going for Morocco, and that dirt is for us, so we definitely wanted to make sure that they couldn't do it, but huge come up, a little bit of stall out kind of while we're at war, but I think that's just because all the extra convoy usage required to supply all of our armies and such. So we have a little bit of a problem. We have a feminist, we want to get the feminist in government, and then we want to, you know, pass some sort of feminism law, but we are having a little bit of trouble. And I think that perhaps President Pierre-Joseph Proudhon has outlived his welcome, except we're on presidential republic, so we can't just exile him. And there's not really a very good way for us to, you know, swap to monarchy or swap to, well, we could try and swap to council republic. That would make everybody mad. With the idea of swapping back to parliamentary republic and not actually enacting any of the laws associated with council, because council will actually be pretty easy to get off once our anarchist is dead, in terms of switching back to parliamentary. However, we will proc some events, so we're gonna try and figure this out. But the big problem is we would love to do this government, right? But since the president needs to be in power, we can't do this government. So we effectively are unable to leverage our feminist in order to, you know, pass women's suffrage, which would be preferable because we are having labor problems, despite finally getting up over 100 million GDP. And it looks like we're pretty quickly approaching 400 million GDP and over 100 million pops. So, you know, it's stuff like this is why, you know, it would be very easy if we had parliamentary to just, you know, do this. This would work. Or, you know, perhaps even something like this. But we can't do it under presidential. We're stuck in with this guy, and it hurts. And so this is one of, like, we said that we didn't like presidential when we did it, and we stand by that. So just kind of evidence of that in play. All right. We get the natural borders of France, with the French Republic now extending to the far corners of the Rhine and Alps. We have achieved our Champions Project, our natural borders. We must now administer. We can get assimilation. We could say glory to the heroes. Or we are the liberators of Gaul, making Wallonian a primary culture, which is important because now we can use the company that gives wood, iron, and the other stuff. I don't think we're going to slot them in. I think we still prefer the state construction efficiency, but you know, this might be starting to fall off, to be fair. You know, we have, in a lot of our very best places, yes, we are at equilibrium employment in several industries, although we are at decent employment. And so the additional construction is starting to, or the additional construction speed starting to fall off. And also, it's not as good the more of it you have, right? And so the more construction speed you have, it has diminishing returns. So for example, if you're running a construction malice and you're only at 90% construction speed and you go up 10, this is effectively 11% increase in your ability to construct. But if you're at 100 and you go up 10, it's only a 10% increase in your ability to construct. If you're at 200% and you go up 10, it's a 5% increase, right? And so the more of it you have of it, the less valuable it is. And I think perhaps, you know, just... and maybe this company's still worth the slot, right? But I think for the purposes of, you know, demonstrating kind of our plan, as it were, we are going to disband this company, and we are going to put in the Compagnie du Congo, which is normally only a Belgian thing, and we will get prestige and rubber and blah, 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 but mainly we are getting throughput and construction on these 800 industries that we have not been getting before, or sorry, throughput on these 800, and also, you know, construction. And so this will spike prosperity bonus, so that'll be nice, and we will just have, you know, a very large, Look at that fall off. Is that from just deslotting the throughput on the other thing? Interesting. Let's let this, like, the game think a little bit. But maybe they don't like that, so maybe we just disband this and go back to what we were doing. That is interesting that the throughput made such a big difference. I mean, we could get throughput here. Huh. That's wild. I mean, maybe it was a combination of flooding. Alright, I guess we'll go back to this for now. And will that immediately recover our economy? We get, like, several native uprisings in the, like, 10-second period. I think we'll just, you know, send some of these guys out to deal with them. Deal with the riffraff. We are also annexing here in Algeria, you know, trying to do the other stuff for Algeria. But I'm just trying to figure out what happened here exactly. Huh, we were at like 400 million. Was it the construction? No, it's not the construction queue not being filled. That's very, very interesting. That the construction efficiency. Huh. Okay. Alright, the economy's starting to recover. I think, you know, we kind of crimped it on two ends where we dramatically increased the supply of iron and then also tanked, I actually don't know why that happened exactly. I'll have to reflect on that some more. Why that slotting out the company that volatilely affected our economy. But what we're going to be doing now is we're going to just kind of be doing a little bit of maintenance, looking for stuff that's close to 51 and has available labor, and we're just going to bring it on up to 51. That way it will be getting max economies of scale and this sort of thing. And so, like, or if it's really close to 51, even if there's not available labor, we're going to take it to 51. And, you know, getting EOS to 51, it has increasing marginal returns because of how throughput works. You know, when you build the second building, it's worth 102% of a building because you're getting the 1% on the building that you just built and the 1% on the previous building. When you build your 51st building, you're effectively getting 200% of a building, right? The 150% on the building you just built and the extra 1% on the previous 50 buildings before it. And so this is really valuable to, you know, go after. And so we will be kind of pushing that. And then, you know, the 52nd building, it's just 150% of a building again. So this is going to be kind of the heuristic that is informing why we are, you know, pushing these 51s a little bit aggressively, even in places where, like, there isn't a lot of employment, although we would prefer, you know, having a little bit more employment whenever we're trying to do this. But this is the idea here. Constantine's a little bit low on the labor, but Beijing is not low on the labor. And then, you know, this will also cause some problems in some ways, but in terms of infrastructure, we don't have, this is pretty heavy on the infrastructure, and we're not actively solving it, you know, ahead of time. Is main Anjou, why do we have so much yeah, this is a mistake to have this much. It doesn't have any, I guess it has the iron mines, but it doesn't have sulfur as an input. It would be preferable to do it maybe, or actually, no, this is not incorporated. And then Flanders I don't think has the stuff. Lorraine has the stuff, but man, this isn't deploying up. And by the stuff, I mean the sulfur. Interesting. Yeah, we would love to have it in a place where we have rice, and, like, if we had Hebei where there's rice and sulfur, this would be most ideal. Looks like we don't have anything close to 51 here on that, and then definitely have something close to 51 here. And so we will push the 51s on all these that have, like, a little bit of labor, even Burgundy, which kind of feels a little bit gross, but because I don't think it has the proper inputs. And then we should be in relatively good shape. Now, on top of this, let's just take a look at what we're natural spreading. We're spreading open hearth process, ironclad, and philosophical pragmatism. So we know we will be moving in the direction of ironclads shortly. But I think that, you know, we're kind of, roughly speaking, prepared to make that type of PM swap. I think we have, where do we have our military shipyards? Or actually, I guess we need the regular shipyards. These are the ones we're caring about. Steamships requires a ton of steel. We're building a ton of steel, and we're not spreading a steel tech, so we should be fine for that. Annexing also this here. which should be pretty good. This election is really close, and it's also really going to matter because if we need to get the agrarians to win the election in order to actually try and be able to pass some feminist laws, and these guys are starting to get upset with us anyways, so we really want this guy to lose so we can exile him, because I'm pretty sure the anarchist ideology, while it does allow us to go multiculturalism, it is hurting us when it comes to spiking approval and getting, you know, manufacturing industry throughput and workforce ratio. So we hit this a little interesting event, Voice of the People, French Foreign Legion, with the erection of permanent legionary barracks in Iran, dubbed the Quarter Viennois, French syllables. The French Foreign Legion has been established as the premier fighting force in Africa. We'll take the migration attraction, I think, and that is quite good. Now, we haven't hit Algerian department, because we have to incorporate these boyos. Let's see how incorporation's going. I still think, yeah, we got like quite a while, 12 years, but we do have the fighting force in the French North African Army, who has even 5 generals. They don't need 5-star general when they have 5 generals. And so these guys are defending somewhere or attacking somewhere. Pretty nice. We have also gotten ourselves involved in this conflict with the USA in exchange for Mexico, or sorry, not Mexico, in exchange for California, which should help out. Mexico can't become a protectorate because Mexico is actually a major power, but if we keep peeling states off of them, eventually we will be able to protectorate them in exchange for this, and I think the USA will continue to asked to fight Mexico. I don't think Mexico has any demands on the USA for territory, which I always thought was a little weird. Once they kind of have their stuff, they don't really grab back when they have the opportunity, but Russia's also in here, so we're maybe not in the best shape, but if Russia doesn't mobilize, then it should be fairly easy. Alright, we actually paid pretty close attention to all the election events, and we managed to get the agrarians to win the election here, so we will have a new government. And we can do something to this effect here. And also, you know, we are at a point in the game where we maybe want to start decreasing taxes anyways. So what we're going to do is we're going to slot these guys in. We're going to decrease taxes 2 notches, which is going to look psychotic for a little bit. Maybe we have to come back up. Maybe we have to delete construction. And then we're going to go for women's suffrage, which of course will make the trade unions will get insurrectionary off that. Man, this guy's so pissed. This guy is so pissed. Alright, did we already click? We already clicked reform. That's unfortunate. We maybe wanted to intentionally put a different guy in charge of that interest group. Like a jingoist, for example, would be pretty good. So would these guys. Giuseppe Garibaldi, but the Giuseppe is a little bit, I think we could just roll the dice with this guy, though, no? And use our exile here, and hope to spike a feminist anyways. So we're going to exile him, and we spike another communist. That's certainly not ideal. We're actually going to slot them back in government for just a moment, and we are going to recruit a guy and promote him to government. So I think we're going to go with a jingoist gentleman. Because we have a fairly jingoist policies, and we will be able to grant leadership. And he is a little bit happier with us now. We'll slot him out of government. We'll be more legitimate here. And with his -1 approval, will we still... Women's suffrage, will it still... It will not radicalize them. So we will be able to try and pass women's suffrage here, which will help us out quite a bit. Of course, this will make us run this negative construction malice, which is absolutely painful, but it's completely offset by, you know, our French bonus and this combined. And so that'll be nice, and we'll try and tidy up these wars. So we are back trying to bolster the petite bourgeoisie and get them above 5% clout. Now, we won't be getting their bonus if we get there, but this minus loan interest rate would actually be something that would appeal to us quite a lot, given the current situation. Also, you know, we're doing pretty well, but we do have a revolution brewing. We might even have to back off of women's suffrage. That would be unfortunate. Really unfortunate role with the trade unions to begin with, to like roll an anarchist on an anarchist, and then we intentionally brought a guy into power and then put him into power, and then he died and we got another anarchist. So A bit unlucky in that regard. We do not want to keep getting anarchists. We'd much prefer a vanguardist. Literally, like any other ideology, will give us much better approval, and so this is kind of coming back to bite us quite a bit here. We do see, that was a little bit of an interesting heat map regarding the power of the petite bourgeoisie. We noticed in our, you know, in our our Belgium game, they became really powerful, and we see, you know, they are really benefiting, I think, from the migration polls, where we pulled a lot of pops to Rhone throughout the entire course of the game, and they've been converting to being French, which makes them eligible for petite bourgeoisie, but we want their clout to come up above 5%, so that hopefully, you know, they start getting a little bit involved, and they stay above 5%, because we would love to get this bonus, minus 7% loan interest rate, and we'd love to get this bonus, loyalists from standard of living increases. For a bit of context, you know, relativizing it to the guaranteed liberties, you know, we're only getting 20% loyalist from standard living increases. So this would be really nice, even if we just get it at like a lower tier level. So hopefully we can do that. Unfortunately, the thieves of the Spanish market have stolen our rightful subject here. And so what we are going to do is we are going to bankroll Great Qing. And this is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but we do want those tasty, tasty pops. Burma, though, we could use the obligation to invite them and stop bankrolling them. Not that we were spending a lot to bankroll them anyways. We're going to continue bankrolling them, but these guys are in the customs union, so we're going to stop bankrolling them as well. You know, save a little cash here and there, as you can. We're up to a 440 million here, and, you know, Spain, if Spain gets small enough, they're a Jeep. Oh, wow, they're really caked up. More than normal. Spain does pretty good, but, yeah, man, better than normal for Spain. But we, of course, want to get sink back into here, and we can siphon off pops from here, though, which is nice, but we definitely do want to get Qing back in the market, or start taking Qing provinces, one of the two. GDP is really cranking up, and we might even hit the 570 today, especially if we can get Qing back in the market. A little bit of a hiccup. You could see the line flattening out slightly, but overall, it's still, the trajectory is still pretty good on it. We're still getting a good amount of migration from other people. This one is going to be really nice, because especially in the areas where we don't have enough labor already, the migration's a slow sort of thing. This will be very fast, although workforce ratio does apply at equilibrium. We will get minus birth rate, but we were primarily depending on, you know, migration anyways, and the enfranchisement will be a stimulus. You can already see, I think, is that the enfranchisement? Hello. Or that's actually probably once these guys are de-insurrectionary, we will kind of go for a government reform that is relatively, you know, I guess we could go for this. We'd prefer to put, you know, kind of a little secure the petite bourgeoisie in here a little bit, cocoon them. So I think we're going to wait for these guys to stop being insurrectionary. I said I think we're going to wait for these guys to stop. You know, actually, we don't hate protected speech. The only problem is we can't use bolsters and these other things too well. And who hates it? Please don't say the PB. The PB hates it. So we just demarginalize them so we can get them to hate it. Now, if we had an invitation available, which we don't, we can invite, you know, a PB guy who is a radical who would love protected speech. But unfortunately, we can't invite that. So maybe we just let this... I mean, I feel like this rev's going to go away, no? The people want what they want, I suppose. You know, the malice of the trade unionist is just too big, and we don't really care about being on protected speech. We kind of prefer it anyways, and so I guess we'll just upset the PB as soon as bringing them in, because the minus 10% influence and increased radicals from discrimination is really a nothing burger, and once these guys are satisfied, we will be able to, you know, reform the government in a meaningful way. It's really not more legitimate. Yeah, so we'll be able to make a righteous government. So we'll just, like, take a step back and let the thing rethink, and then exit reform government, and now we can put in a super righteous government, and then raise taxes a little bit, and, you know, be in good shape here. I don't even think we want to run that tax level, though. I think we want to run this. I think we want to thread the needle a little bit here. Just try and, slowly start to pull this back a little bit, you know, and rather than adding more taxes and more construction, I think it's overall the stimulating effect that it's going to have on the economy, having a lower tax is going to be maybe what we're interested in at this juncture. And I think we can maybe grow our line of credit faster than this 300k. Maybe. Not 100% sure, but if we're trying to actually crank up the GDP, this is kind of how you have to go about it. Not that this is necessarily definitive, but I just want to note we went from 192 million to 193 million in credit and 198 in capacity to 200 in capacity, which is indicative that we are, outstripping this. But we'll let a few more ticks happen because I think it's probably pretty close, and we might not be, faster on this. It might just be, a little bit of. I think we would rather delete construction though than increase taxes at this point, because the construction might not be as effective as we'd like it to be. But just kind of watching to see if the 200 goes to 201 before, at the same time we went 194 to 201. So if we can just keep up this pace, it's super fine. And if you saw the balance, we just resolved a bunch of infrastructure problems with the railroads coming through. So like now the balance is like 200k less. So that should be like very, very nice. The one problem we do have is this investment pool is growing. And so we might let the queue idle, and maybe the auto queue will be able to pick up the slack. I don't think it will, but it will be able to pick up the slack better the lower the taxes are, because more businesses will be profitable. All right, I think we're going to conclude this episode here. Didn't quite get to 570 million, but we hit some important technologies. We passed a couple laws. We notably had some troubles with presidential republic. The important one we passed was Zeppelins, but we didn't really talk about it too much. Perhaps we should have talked about it a little bit more. MAPI is a very strong, modifier, and this will allow us to do the Congo one coming in next episode. But also, we just had quite a big economic crank up. We added 200 million to the GDP, and going from 270 to 470 is a pretty big crank up, and we are entering a phase in the game where we actually want to start rolling back taxes. Like we pipped over 3k, although we were at like 2,900 for forever in terms of construction, and I think that we might even want to be doing this. We are definitely growing the credit line faster than, or actually maybe that's not so definitive. On average, I think we're growing the credit line faster than we're cranking it down, or then we're acquiring debt, but just barely at this point, so we probably can't lower taxes yet. But as we make more money, that's going to be the mode of ingress, and you can see that the SOL has markedly improved, since we had made this adjustment, and this is going to improve consumption, and not only consumption, or it's going to improve, it's going to improve pop growth, it's going to improve literacy, it's going to improve, a whole bunch of stuff, but it also markedly improves consumption, and so this is what we need to stimulate the economy at this point. We can no longer stimulate the economy just with the construction loop. We have reached a point in the game where, in order to stimulate the economy, we need pops consuming more. Places are kind of equilibrium employment out. They will sometimes, we've noticed in a few spots, they don't have, they have unemployment, but, and they could work, but they're not. Not too much of this, but also this will increase migration and attraction as well, because standard living is a cross-sectional modifier thing. So, by improving our SOL, by decreasing taxes, we are going to help to also solve the labor problem. I think there's only a couple spots where we have unemployment. Wait, why are we at war with them? Which play is this? I think we're likely to just kind of piece them out relatively quickly here, but I did not realize that we would be fighting. Oh, yeah, they want that back, of course. We don't really care who wins this play, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and other than that, have a good day.